day everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the very first video on the Vizloom channel. Today I'll be recording a quick run-through of the basics to get started with Vizloom. My name is Carlo and I'm the developer of Vizloom. I also have an art name, Simworks, and for as much as I hate addressing myself in the third person, Simworks is a DJ and a visual artist. And in fact, in the past few years, I gotten into this specific kind of video DJing where I'm striving to turn my DJ sets into a synesthetic visual experience. And this has been the main inspiration for Vizloom, really. In fact, the art and music that we'll be using throughout the process that I'm just about to show you is stuff that I create in my free time, aka time I should probably be sleeping. And it's material you'll actually receive when you download Vizloom so that you can follow the same exact tutorial on your own time and on your computer. Okay, but what is Vizloom? It's a new kind of video editor, or I call it also a procedural video editor for DJs, music producers, visual artists to turn their performances and work into synesthetic visual experiences. So procedural in this case just means that you'll spend less time and tears setting keyframes. And in this video we'll follow the quick start guide to go from zero to a finished video. You'll always find the most up-to-date version in the link in the description. So actually, since I'm talking about it, why don't I just show you the guide itself, because there is something in there that can help me explain a little bit. There. All right. If you're a DJ, you probably already have a curated selection of music. And what really Vizloom encourages you to do is to expand this curation process to include visual art as well, if you're not making your own even. Just as you could be making your own music too. You know, everyone their own. It depends what kind of endeavor you like to dive deeper into. But let's say that you have a curated selection of music and a curated selection of visual art, then you can use Vizloom templates to generate music videos, and then you can use these music videos for mixing just the way you mix music, but you can mix the music videos directly. This functionality is available in, I think, basically all or almost all the DJ softwares out there. What is a Vizloom template? We'll see, but a template is a way for you to kind of automate your very own visual style. And a good template, it should allow you to visualize one track in no more than 10-15 minutes. Or even less, depending on what you're going for. So let's dive into it and see how do you achieve all of this. The first time that you open Vizloom, it will actually show you the visual library up front, because you can't really do much unless you put some visual art in. Visual art can be videos, images, and you can do that by simply dragging items in. Now, because this is similar to a cooking show, I already have a kit prepared, a starter kit with some visuals in it. As you can see, I have some videos organized in folders, and we can, we could drag them in individually, but we don't want to spend too much time doing that. So let's just drag in each folder like that, and the default settings will be fine. So let's click on create. And as you can see, it will organize your visuals already in folders. The visual library is actually going to be shared across all your projects, or as you see, they're called here collections. This curated selection of visuals that you cultivate will be what you always have available for any track that you're visualizing as part of any collection of tracks. Well, let's take a look just to make sure that you know, things look right. And it looks like they do. And let's go ahead and close the visual library. Let's create a collection. We can go ahead and use the default settings for this one. And we're going to be dragging in some music. Well, let's get this sample track here. As you drag in music, it will analyze it to extract the waveform, information, BPM, and stuff that will be useful for visualizing it. Of course, you can drag multiple tracks in at the same time. And it's up to you how you organize collections, really. Collections are saved as files, so if we hit Command Save, we can, and let's call it demo collection. So, you know, files. So once we have added a song or more songs, the next step is to visualize them. Let's maybe start in order of how, what was inserted first. And you can see for each song you have a progress tracker. The first step is usually automatic, completely automatic. You don't need to do anything for that unless something is wrong with the BPM. So the first thing you want to do is to synchronize. Synchronize just means that you're verifying the Beatgrid is aligned with the song. So usually also here, not much to do. I tend to just skip to the first part of the song with a kick and a clap, and I just make sure to look at the bars and make sure that they move accordingly. And everything looks fine. No need to do anything here, but if you did have to adjust it, you can, you know, shift things here. You can adjust the BPM, you know, change where the clap or the measure are falling. And having this set up correctly is very important for everything that comes after for the visualization step. But once this is done, I'd say let's get creating. So let's click on create. Nice, this is where we finally get to see what templates are. In fact, you could be building everything from scratch. However, most of the times you will start from a template. You can select it here. We'll start with the beginner template. Everything that you see here, the kind of tracks that you have available, even the controls that are present on every track, what they do, how they behave, this is all gonna be different template by template, because all of this is kind of programmed using these nodes editors. And I know nodes can be polarizing. If you love them, please have at it. It's a very fun way to work. If you don't, then no need to panic, because over time I'll keep adding always more templates that you can just pretty much pick off the shelf and start using. So this is really a way for you to dive deeper if you want to. And it is where kind of the brains of each template are built. Just to show you a bit how they can change. See, this is how much stuff we have on this template, while on the creative version, we have a lot more tracks, a lot more types of tracks. These tracks, they all have many more controls, levels of customization that you can dive into. There is, down here, there is a track for rolling bass lines that I use for visualizing psychedelic trance, for example. There is a track for risers, you know, like build-ups when you have those snares, right? Before a drop. And so you can dive into all these extra utilities once you're ready, once you're familiar with the basics. I think the beginner template is a much better way to start, and it's actually more than enough to create something that really looks like it's following the song anyways. So let's start slowly. This template gives us a song structure. This song structure is where we will describe where there is breakdowns and rhythmic sections. Breakdowns are, for example, the intro, and whenever there is more of a lull, that kind of suggests a change of scene, right, in the music. And so this song, I think it has a atmospheric intro. Yeah, very atmospheric, all right. So let's check the atmospheric intro box, and then let's go look for the drop. Looks like it's coming about here. Let's go. All right. Let's go look for the other breakdowns in the track. Oh, that's a breakdown right there. Another one, I think another drop is gonna be here. Yep. And then looks like there is another breakdown here, I bet. I'm getting them all right. I wonder why. Very long breakdown. Looks like it's dropping right here. There you go. All right. Yeah, see, this is where you could think, oh, do I mark this as a breakdown? Do I not? I don't mark these transitions as a breakdown. As you can see, all the animation envelopes are audio reactive anyways, so you will see a variation right in the final result either way. I also don't mark, there is an outro here, unless I need to for whatever reason. I tend not to mark outros. That's because usually when you're mixing, the outro is already being mixed into the beginning of the next song, and so you already have like enough going on that it's not really gonna matter too much whether you're changing scene at the end of this song or not. In fact, sometimes it's gonna be annoying actually, because breakdown scenes, they might tend to be brighter, so maybe then you had too much going on in your visual. Anyhow, as you can see, as I was marking out the structure of the song, all the tracks below here were being adapted to follow that. So we see that the kick is ducking out of the way when there is a breakdown. Same thing for the clap and the hat. The clap and the hat also seem to have a ramp up behavior. That's more just like an heuristic trick that I decided to use in this template. Usually it looks better to not visualize something that is there rather than it is to visualize something that is not there. And usually at the beginning of a rhythmic section, you tend not to have the clap and the hat. They often tend to come in later on. And so having them grow slowly like this kind of just makes it more likely that what you're seeing matches what you're hearing. You can customize this, by the way. For example, you can completely turn this behavior off, or you can change its shape. You can dive into a few customizations, even just in this beginner template. And these are fun because these are meant to help you change scenes. as the music evolves. So we have most importantly a breakdown animation and a rhythmic section animation. So you should assign to these visuals that you want to display when we are in a breakdown or in a rhythmic section kind of constantly, as opposed to these ones up here that are pulsing, right? So this will be more kind of like the flashing kind of stuff, while this will be there to smoothen out a little bit all that flashing. The breakdown buildup is there to introduce a little bit of extra movement. So during a breakdown, you might be displaying something that stays up for the whole breakdown, but then you display something that also slowly fades in throughout the breakdown, adding a little bit of variety. And same thing for the rhythmic section down here. And we'll get into this one maybe later, but it's just like something that helps you try to visualize different kinds of bass lines. Now that we have all of this done, what I like to usually do is expand the tracks. You can expand them one by one, but if you press tab, it will expand all of them and start assigning visuals. By the way, pressing tab reminds me, I've been jumping around, seemingly using my mind, but no, I've been using keyboard shortcuts. You can use the playback controls here, but if you hover on them long enough, you can see the keyboard shortcuts, and it's really worth doing because it makes the whole workflow so much faster. If you want to learn more, there is a link to the user guide here, which also has a page for keyboard shortcuts. So keep an eye on this one. Back to the visuals. Okay, so let's rewind and let's start deciding what this looks like. It starts with a intro. So let's start with that. I'd say, all right, this is kind of where I also need to decide what's the visual that best matches the feelings coming through this song. Is this song feeling more like going through a futuristic Egyptian landscape or a forest with a mountain in the distance? I don't know, to me personally this song feels a little bit mysterious, a little bit melancholic. I will probably go for the forest and the mountain. So let's pick this one as our breakdown visual and hit play. We'll also add something to evolve through time. Let's use the shimmer, which is this Stargate looking detail here. It will just appear slowly throughout the intro or the breakdowns. The drop is coming, so let's pick something for the kick. And maybe something for the rhythmic section. So let's see if the drop works. There you go. Oh, also the clap is coming. Let's pick something for the clap. There you go. As you learn the names of the visuals you have in the library, you can just autocomplete them right here. It becomes much faster. I see the clap, but it's not very obvious. I would say let's make it brighter. And also just white. There you go, a little better. The hat is coming too, and I'm gonna give it these fruits. There you go. See, that's an example where you were visualizing something that wasn't there yet, so maybe we'll make the clap a little bit more dramatic. Let's pick something that will stay on throughout the rhythmic sections. Ships. Yeah, so this is actually a Stargate, and it's gonna have ships flying in and out of it. should come in with a drop. And they are. And also something to evolve throughout. Let's have the stars slowly appear. So they'll slowly appear throughout the rhythmic section. And actually I want them to stay on for the breakdown too. So let's go ahead and duplicate the breakdown and add the stars. So when the breakdown comes on, let's skip ahead. The stars will stay on. And they will disappear again when the drop comes. Yep. So it's a little darker, right, when the rhythm starts, so the focus can go back to the pulsing elements. Well, looks good. This is all that I wanted for this one. Maybe one could spend more time customizing, or maybe not. What I do at this point usually is I queue it up for rendering. When you toggle this switch, it will add the song to a render queue. If you want, you could render this song right away, but personally I like to just queue them up, and then when I go to sleep, let the computer work for me, the original promise of computing, and let it render while I sleep. Because the rendering does take a little while. Also, don't forget to specify where you want these videos to render. Videos can be a little big, so it's good to be conscious of where you're putting them. And when that's done, you're ready to hit render. It will render at 180p because that's what I've seen DJ software generally support for video mixing. And that concludes our tutorial for today. So if you'd like to try this for yourself, you can head over to vizloom.com and you can try it for free right now. Make sure to join also the Discord, where you can share your work or your DJ performance, and also useful resources you find, like VJ loops that you like particularly, or artists, visual artists you're a fan of. You can also subscribe here, of course, with the button down below, and on our socials, where I'll be posting updates. I'll drop all the links to this stuff in the description. Time for me to get back to work. I'm preparing some new features for future updates that I'm pretty excited about. If you do have suggestions, although, on what you would like to see, please do drop your suggestion in the comments. This is all for today, so thank you for watching this far, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.